Hey everyone, Matt here from Docs Running, and today we're going to do a 100-mile review of the ASICS Gel-Nimbus 27. Now this is the premium neutral daily trainer among the ASICS line and has been for many years. I remember selling this shoe when I was working in running stores, and it was supposed to be that super plush premium shoe at that higher price point for those who wanted the softest ride underfoot. And it was a very soft ride for many years. There's things I liked and I didn't like about it. It wasn't really a shoe that I was ever interested in because it was usually heavier, not a great heel bevel, kind of clunky, and I just usually wanted something lighter. And the recent versions of the shoe have been very different. They've gotten way softer, they're really taller stack heights, and really still stuck in that premium category, making it like one of the softer shoes, not the softest, but definitely very soft, getting above that 40mm stack height. 27 takes us in a different direction. This is a slightly firmer trainer. It's still very much premium, some nicer materials, but it's a slightly different version of what the Nimbus has been. And I will say that has definitely maintained over that 100 miles. So the purpose of this review is for those of you interested, not just in the initial things, but how does this shoe last over a longer period of time? That's the purpose of this, and hopefully I'll explain this. As always, let's start off with specs. Some differences from the original review, got some updated stuff from Running Warehouse. Men's size 9 is coming in at 10.4 ounces, or about 295 grams. Women's size 8 is coming in at 9 ounces, or 255 grams. So lighter than the previous versions, which totally makes sense. As I measured this version versus the last one in my size 10, this was a little bit lighter. In stack height wise, it is still the same, higher, 43.5, 35.5, or 43, 35, depending on who you ask. 8mm drop, so kind of staying in that similar vein. And even though a lot of the stuff is supposed to be similar, there's pure gel in the heel, there's the Flight Foam Blast Plus Eco in this. It's a firmer writing, but not like really firm. How do I explain this? It's a really cushioned shoe. It's definitely maximal. It's definitely got a much better heel bevel that's not only was good when it first started, but it's broken in really nicely. So ASICS, great job in this post-lateral heel bevel. It transitions very smoothly. But what's different about this shoe is it's not that mushy, soft feeling from 25 and 26. It's a little bit firmer, a little bit snappier, and I was not expecting to like this shoe this much because I've actually struggled to wear Nimbuses for many years to get longer miles. 100 miles in this, no problem. It's still been a really great shoe. So it's a little bit firmer right. It's slightly soft when you walk in it, but when you run, this foam just firms up and bounces a little bit. So it's not the lightest shoe. It's still on the lighter end for a Nimbus, but it's something that's done really well for long runs. It's something that's done very well for easy runs. And I've actually been able to do some up-tempo work in this shoe. It's not a workout shoe. That's definitely not what this is for. I'm assuming the new Cumulus will be better than that. ASICS has lots of faster shoes that will do that much better, but it's just a shoe that can handle a little bit of up-tempo stuff and does really well for easy and longer efforts without getting mushy. Still that wide base, so that wide midfoot for those who need that. It's got some nice sidewalls that aren't too aggressive in the heel, and it's actually been a fairly stable neutral ride, and that's maintained. It's not the most stable shoe on the market, but it's definitely got those stable neutral components, and in the forefoot being wider, that those people that want a slightly firmer, highly cushioned shoe that can move really well for easy ones, just a tad up tempo, that's where this shoe is going to come in, and it sits very differently from a lot of the other premium shoes out there where it's not as soft. So it's not something you're wanting, but you still want a lot of foam underfoot. That's where this shoe might actually work. And the nice thing about having a teeny bit firmer is durability is phenomenal. Softer shoes typically tend to wear out a little quicker. 100 miles, outsole still intact. Yes, there's a little bit of wear, but for those of you that have watched this channel and seen the written reviews, which by the way, we have a full written review on this, so please check that out if you want even more information. Durability has been awesome. The foam is even better. It's not getting dead. It's not settling too much. It's not getting too soft or too firm. It's just holding up really nicely. So durability of both the foam and the outsole have been really good. So you're gonna shoe that's gonna handle a lot of miles, which it should be able to at 165 bucks. This is gonna actually do really well. Upper is also something that's a little bit different. The mesh, I can never say it, it's jacquard. However you say that, it's a really nice thinner mesh. Tongue is very thin. And for those that need to lock this down, I didn't need to do that because it fits fairly normally with a little bit more forefoot room. Just be careful though, because the tongue is so thin. If you really tighten this down, it will put a little pressure on your foot. I didn't have to do that because the heel collar is so well padded that my heel stays in there really securely. There is a really stiff heel counter back here, so those that are very sensitive, be aware of that, because the padding here for me though, it's been fine over these 100 miles. So plush upper in the rear. In the forefoot, it gets a little thinner, and even though the toe guard is a little bit flexible, this has still put a lot of pressure on my toes. So this took about 50 miles to break in, where initially the upper, it's just a teeny bit low volume here, then it gets more normal volume up here. This created some pressure that took me a while to get used to. So if you're really really sensitive to having any pressure on the front of your toes. Be aware of that. I've noticed it more during walking than running. Running hasn't been something I've noticed, but walking, yes. So just be aware that's a thing. But there is a little bit more room here than the previous knit versions that sat really low on your foot. So if you need a teeny bit more room but have a more normal foot, this is going to work really, really well for you. So it's been durable, no issues with the upper. Midsole is holding up really well. Outsole is holding up really well. It's going to get you a good number of miles out of this shoe. And it's really maintained its function as that slightly firmer premium daily training shoe that I keep reaching for. Is it a fast shoe? No. Is it a racing shoe? No. But if you just want something to carry you through lots of miles, that's where the Nimbus is going to be without being that mushier, softer shoe. A lot of these shoes tend to be a little bit softer. This one's going to be well cushioned, but just a teeny bit on the firmer side and a little bit more snappier side, which makes it very different, makes it more stable neutral if that's something you need. Actually has some overlap with the Keanu, which I'll do a comparison video at some point, but I think the new Nimbus is really good. I don't know if people are going to agree with me because it's really changed from a lot of its function. So in the comments below, please let me know. Have you tried this shoe? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? If you do agree, do you think this is a good change? I like it, but I have different wants than the rest of the people out there. So please let me know your experiences. And last but not least, hopes this really helps you understand what really works well for you, because again, we're going to try to get as many 100-mile reviews out there. Please know we go through a lot of different shoes trying to get reviews. I try to get as many miles on them as I can. And the YouTube, really what this is to do more interesting things. If you want the full written review, go check out our stuff on our website. But if you want more unique things, comparisons, 100-mile reviews, that's where you're going to find this. Hopefully that explains what we're doing here, because we're trying to provide something different and hopefully it helps.